Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
Play action to Adrian. Cassel back to pass. Fires back right at the end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Greg Jennings back right at the end zone. And Minnesota opens a 12-0 lead. Cassel out of the shotgun. Play action. Fires to the end zone. Caught! Touchdown Vikings! It's a touchdown for Kyle Rudolph. The third touchdown today for the Minnesota Vikings, extending the lead to 26-3. Cassel play action, floats out right, passes right, caught Asiata room, 15, 10, 5, Matt Asiata, touchdown! A 25-yard touchdown from Matt Cassel to Matt Asiata, and the Vikings strike first, taking a 6-0 lead.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're seeing what a sophisticated offensive game plan looks like. You talk about
Here comes former Vikings quarterback Matt Cassel, co-host of an iHeart podcast called Lots to Say with the host Bobby Bones. My brother, how are things, and how is the podcasting world treating you, Mr. Cassel?
Oh, what's up, brother? First and foremost, you know I love you, and Happy New Year. The podcasting world has been amazing. Honestly, Bobby Bones, who I'm doing the show with, he's incredible, great personality, great conversationalist, funny, and we've got some episodes that we've done already, and it's been a blast. The format's been fun, and just having fun doing that and conversating about football, entertainment. We had Tim McGraw and Parker McCollum, and then we've got guys like the great Jared Allen on Kurt Warner. So we've had some great guests and great people to talk to. So it's been a blast.
You're Bobby Bones. You know, I say the name Bobby Bones, and I feel like I should follow it with Bobby Bones. I got all his albums, but a lot of the newbies don't know what albums are. Your host Bobby Bones won Dancing with the Stars, and I read shook down Donald Trump for $100,000 to St. Jude's after trademarking the phrase "Make America Great Again." What's it like doing a show with Bobby Bones?
Hold on. My dog was barking in the background. I know that he won Dancing with the Stars. Mm-hmm. Tell me the trademark thing one more time.
Well, it's Make America Great Again. Okay, according to Wikipedia, Donald Trump he locked it up, but not via trademark. So Bobby Bones recognized he trademarked it. And then he supposedly got with Donald Trump and said, here's the deal. You can have it for shirts and hats if you donate $100,000 to St. Jude's, which is in Memphis. And then Bobby Bones is based in Nashville, I think. So they cut a deal. There's a picture with a check from from President Donald Trump to St. Jude's without the amount included, but assumedly it's around $100,000. That's pretty cool how he did that.
That's incredible, right? And that's the type of person he is. He's genuine, he's authentic, he cares about people. But the fact that he trademarked that phrase and all those proceeds went to people in need, kids in needs in St. Jude's Hospital. I mean, that's just who he is. I didn't know that story, but that's a remarkable story. And we're definitely going to be talking about that on the podcast next week because I'm going to bring it up.
Okay, if I just took a fat L because Wikipedia is wrong, don't blame it on the announcer. Well, do blame it on the announcer, but Wikipedia is where I got it.
I'm definitely blaming it on you. I'm definitely blaming it on you.
It's Wikipedia. It's super sweet. Okay, now, also, when I hear the name Bobby Bones, it feels like the moniker for a man somebody owes $5,000 after losing an over-under bet on a playoff game. The name has like a gambling bent to it, too. You know what I mean? I owe some money to Bobby Bones.
Yeah, and he's going to come break bones, right? But this is not the Bobby Bones when you see him in person that you're going to see and be very much intimidated by. So I think he definitely shows a different path based on his build and his athleticism and everything else. But, yeah, he was a great athlete, supposedly in high school. So, Yeah, but I think he chose the right career path because I think he's also the youngest guy to go into the Country Music Radio Hall of Fame at 37 years old or something like that. He's been doing it for a long time and just great guy to work with. And he's right here in my backyard in Nashville, so it makes it super easy.
How often do the podcasts drop? And assumedly, it all started January, like right around New Year's Day. And I saw McGraw, Allen. I listened to some of Kurt Warner, Ian Rappaport. Rappaport was recent with all the news and everything. How often do you guys do this podcast in the iHeart family?
It's a once-a-week deal, so we usually record on Tuesdays, and they usually drop, I think, Wednesdays, Thursdays, something like that. And it's going to be continuous through on. It just took a little while for all the pieces to come together for the podcast through the NFL media department and also iHeartRadio. But once it did, we kind of hit the ground running, and we've been knocking out some episodes. So it's been good just leading up to it, but it did take a little while to get going.
Matt Cassel, 9 to noon. You know Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell very well, and he's into the last year of his first deal with the Vikings. Do you see any way he doesn't coach this team for many years to come?
I mean, if they don't re-sign him, I think that would be a very foolish decision on behalf of ownership and management, because what he's accomplished and what he's had to overcome with some of the adversity with injuries to key players throughout his first few years here, I think he's done a remarkable job this season included, with obviously J.J. McCarthy going down early. Who knows? But Sam Darnold, the way that he played, and just the belief that this team has in him and getting the most out of his players, I think he's got a bright future and will be doing it for a long period of time. And I think the Vikings are lucky to have him. Obviously, this season, I don't have to tell you, ended abruptly, ended in a way in which everybody's got a sour taste in their mouth. But I think that there are some holes that they can figure out, and particularly on the offensive line, that if they can correct some of those interior issues on the offensive line, that this team will be competing for championships in the near future.
Sadly, your former Vikings and Trojans brother in arm, so to speak, Sam Darnold, may have lost out on tens of millions of dollars the way the last two games went, right?
Yeah, it's amazing because of the year that he had, really resurrecting his career and then going in and being at some different points in the season an MVP-type caliber player. And then everybody now just sees these last two games. The one against Detroit, obviously, I believe was probably the worst game of the year. And then you look at last week, this last weekend's game against the LA Rams, and there's a number of different reasons. It's not all on Sam Darnold. I mean, anytime you get sacked 6 times, and some of that is him holding the ball 2 times, 6 times in the first half, 9 times overall, 12 different players have pressure. Playing the quarterback position is difficult enough, but when you get pressured at that type of rate, when you're getting hit consistently, then your processing speeds up, right? And you have to try to anticipate. You're getting through your reads quicker because you know you got to get the ball out of your hand, but at the same time, you're trying to make plays down the field. You're also playing from a deficit. Some of it is your fault as well with the strip sack, but it's a lot of decisions that are going to have to be made for the franchise and for the Vikings this year. I think Sam Darnold proved that he can play at a high level and that he can do it consistently. I mean, to go on a 5-game win streak, lose 2, go on a 9-game win streak, and then unfortunately lose these last 2, everybody's going to judge him on these last 2. But there are bigger issues at hand, or a combined issues at hand, that go into the results of why he played the way that he did.
Agreed. Matt Cassel, part of a podcast called Lots to Say with a Bobby. Lots to say with Bobby Bones. Part of just go to the free iHeartRadio app, and very easy to find, as yours truly found it yesterday. And here's Matt, former Vikings quarterback. And speaking of quarterbacks, we have Daniel Jones on the squad now with some decompression time and O'Connell's masterful work with quarterbacks. Would you expect the former Giant to be at his very best? I mean, all of his career, if needed next season.
I believe so. I mean, Daniel Jones was put in a few different situations that were difficult for him early in his career, and especially with the surrounding pieces that he has. When you look at as I said, the Minnesota Vikings, this roster, particularly offensively with Jefferson and Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones in the backfield, I mean, they've got pieces that any quarterback's drooling to play in. And then you look at Daniel Jones, and he's he's impressed me at different parts of his career, and I know that he can play the game. And then you put Kevin O'Connell, who's a master at developing quarterback play and helping those guys understand what they need to do. I mean, case in point, Sam Darnold this year, that it could bring the best out of Daniel Jones, and you could catch lightning in a bottle with a guy like that as well.
With the Dallas Cowboys, Matt, do you think the speculation is real in that Deion Sanders could be the next coach of the Cowboys?
I believe it's real because of Jerry Jones and his belief that it's just as much about entertainment as it is about football. And I think there's two different ways to approach it, right? Deion Sanders has been an incredible player in the NFL and the MLB, been on television, then goes, coaches high school football, coaches at lower level college football, and takes over Colorado programs, able to rebuild that program within 2 years from a team that was 1-10. So obviously he's able to directionally do it. Now I have pushback on it because it's different from what he is right now. He's the CEO of a college football program, and all the things that he does with his shows and how he speaks to the team. I mean, that's a different level. And then you get to the professional rankings, and especially for a storied franchise like the Dallas Cowboys, those same things I don't think that take place. You're the head coach of a football team. You're not the CEO, right? And so I would wonder how that's going to work, but I do believe he's somebody that understands that dynamic. And look, Deion Sanders is a really smart guy, and I think you either love him or hate him, but at the same time, a lot of the stuff that he does, he understands what he's doing. He's promoting his program. He knows that if you're going to get game day to come to your stadium, you got to win the first game, but it's also the primetime factor. And he understands that. So I think a lot of what he does at Colorado is because these are calculated thoughts, and he initiates it because he knows it's going to bring attention to his program, which was desperately needed. Now, going to the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think that you're going to see all that side of Deion because he doesn't have to promote the Dallas Cowboys. They are the Dallas Cowboys, and maybe that'll change who he is as a head coach. In addition to that, the final thought is I think that he'll be able to go out and put together a tremendous coaching staff with his relationships and the ability to touch people and really connect with people.
Last one, my man. Appreciate the time. Fantastic work, Matt Cassel. What do you think about your former coach, Bill Belichick, coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels?
It's wild, man. I mean, of all the things that I did not think was going to happen in Bill Belichick's near future, especially now that he's become a media juggernaut, I did not believe that he was going to go back to college football and be at UNC. Now, with that being said, you hear the old adage, a coach is always a coach, and he's definitely a coach. And he's one of the greatest of all time is now going back to the college football ranks. It's exciting for UNC. It's exciting for that conference. And honestly, college football. When you lose a guy like Saban and Harbaugh the year before, and then you have the most legendary coach to ever coach the game come back into the college rankings, it's great to be a spectator of it. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. He's never lost at any level. I don't anticipate that he won't be able to put together a great program down there in UNC.
You absolutely had, quote, lots to say, end quote. And I look forward to following the progress of the podcast on the free iHeartRadio app with Matt Cassel called Lots to Say. Let's stay in touch. Do this again sometime, maybe before the Super Bowl. God bless you and your covenant, and we'll talk soon, okay?
You're the best, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Matt Cassel, former Minnesota Vikings quarterback. Chris Finch joins 9 to noon, 17 minutes from now.
Hello, iHeart listener. We have a confession to make. Both iHeart and this commercial you're listening to right now would probably sound a heck of a lot better on the new Roku Pro Series TV. It's got side-firing speakers that fill your room with sound, Dolby Atmos audio that puts you right in the middle of the entertainment, and the ability to pair seamlessly with your home theater sound systems that already have surround sound and booming bass. If all that sounds too good to be true, it'll sound even better on the new Roku Pro Series. Your hearing isn't better, your TV is.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Kind of an extension of Vikes Bites from earlier in the show. Just, it's moving day. And
Time.
Some of this audio I'm actually going to save until tomorrow when there's room for plenty of Vikings-related talkers, putting the 2024 season to bed.
Saquon only went for 302 total and 2 against the Rams a month and a half ago.
Yeah, only.
Is there any reason to like the Rams in this game? I just I left that on the table for Cassel and or Florio. Ravens, Bills, who do you like and why? Commanders, Lions, David Montgomery's back. So, and then the Chiefs play the Texans. So those 4 games, man, that's going to be cool.
I think the reason if you like the Rams, you like them because the Eagles have started so slowly offensively this year, and part of it is because of their addiction and commitment to getting Saquon in the mix early and often and throughout. So that might be a reason you play that game. Rams start fast, and you have a lot of respect for McVay.
Yeah.
I personally, to be honest with you, weird coach and situations and bravado and all of that aside, it just looks like a collision course of Eagles and Detroit.
Yep.
And you're on your own after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles beat the Rams by 17 a month and a half, 2 months ago or something. Like I said to you, into the Vikings game, the Rams are better at this point now than they were week 8.
Yep.
You and I came into it and left it flabbergasted in the same way.
Yeah.
How are the Vikings favored in this game? I could not believe they were a 2.5 point favorite.
Couldn't believe it.
Likewise for you, and they moved all over the place, but ended up with the Vikings favored. And finally, I'm not going to get into this today because I haven't fully written it out. And I was going to bring it up to Matt Cassel to see if he could give me some quarterback related steam to see if there's veracity and or if I'm onto something here. But when I left the Rams-Vikings game, and I was chatting with somebody who knows more about football than me, and they shared something with me that they learned many decades ago with somebody who said something to them about running offense. And so therefore, what I was going to frame up to Matt was they still very much call it a passing league, but I like how the Rams, Ravens, Eagles, and Chiefs, put the Lions in there too, for sure.
Yeah.
How they run before passing, okay? And also utilize their tight ends. What do you think about all that? And not you, but I was going to say to Matt, there's something to this. Okay, there's a segue taking place here.
There is.
And are you saying there is exclamation point or question mark?
I'm saying exclamation point because I believe it based on what we watched in 2024 and kind of, I'd say actually the last 2 years of passing league. But even with the potential 3-time champs in a row, the three-peaters, and how important Isaiah Pacheco was to that operation.
Thank you.
A year ago.
And Kelsey.
And Kelsey. And how important not having Isaiah Pacheco was at times, albeit 15-1 team at one point, right?
Yep.
How much
because they got Kareem Hunt.
Well, they had to go get him.
Right. But he led the NFL in carries for a long portion of the season.
And so how important he was.
Right.
And then you see that this year with...
Maybe it's not a novel approach to football. I found it to be novel because of the way I asked some pointed questions about the way the Rams use their tight ends. And then I started thinking about Sam Laporta and Brock Wright.
Yeah.
And Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. And the Ravens. Well, now they have 3 of them.
Wow.
They use Lively a certain way.
Lively's awesome.
But, he got usurped this last game by some guy I never heard of.
But and then the resurgence of Mark Andrews at the same time, who over maybe the last 5 or 6 games, I think has 5 or 6 TDs.
Look at where the Packers in that deep tight ends draft took Luke Musgrave, who has a lot to do to justify that pick, Tucker Kraft, then they found Ben Sims on the Vikings practice squad. The Bills have Dalton Schultz.
Dawson Knox.
Have Dawson Knox and still draft Dalton Kincaid.
Yes.
With a team that can run and run with his quarterback.
That's right.
There is a segue because what we saw the other night with Higbee's back and he's going to have 58 yards in the first quarter. But Long and Allen, Davis Allen and Hunter Long, who cares, right? Yeah, you don't care until Davis Allen scores on you. And then you realize, well, Hunter Long was a third-round pick in 2021, drafted by the Dolphins. Oh, by Brian Flores. And the way they use him, and then the tight end position is super vital to the Green Bay Packers. So I'm going to look into this with all the teams and stuff and just because I know from the teams the Vikings play, what the tight ends do, but more importantly, how much they play and when they use them. I don't like sharing. It's 12 personnel, it's 13 personnel, it's 11 personnel.
I understand.
Saying, here's a green dog, here's a zero. I don't talk like that because nobody understands what it means. So it takes a while to explain it. And I'm not into that either. I'm just saying I want to get to the bottom line here that what I learned the other night was somebody super famous said decades ago, you give me the right running game and the right 3 tight ends, you ain't going to beat me. And it's kind of stood the test of time. But then off what we saw the other night with how McVay uses those tight ends, why he uses them and when, and then you start looking at the Lions. Okay, so the Lions have David Montgomery, and they draft Jahmyr Gibbs. So now it's the best 1-2 in the NFL. It's not close. And we have Andrews, but we're going to play lively. And we're going to play them together. And then we got this new guy whose name I didn't recognize. I think he caught a pass last game. Might have been because they were winning by a large margin. This is a thing.
Yeah.
This is a thing the high-end offensive coaches are doing. And I just want to kind of get to the bottom line of it.
Well, I'm curious how you can kind of bring that back into the mix then as you try to get to the bottom line of it is what did you get or not get out of TJ after he returned from an injury?
Yep.
We saw moments of greatness and brilliance earlier in the season from Josh Oliver. Did we see that pan out over the totality of the season? And Johnny Munt's always good for a little gotcha going one way. He's wide open for 13 on the far side.
Yeah.
And for a little catch and run. How the Vikings deploy or did not deploy those tight ends.
But we don't run close to as effectively as the teams we just mentioned.
Well, here's what I'm curious. Well, I guess
that's a major part of the equation. Look at the Ravens. Look at the Bills. Yeah. Okay, the Ravens or Bills may win the Super Bowl. Amen?
Yes, amen.
Okay. Well, I mean, how do the Ravens pay their wide receivers? With nickels and dimes.
Yes.
How do the Bills pay their receivers? With nickels and dimes.
That's right now, yes.
And we're in the now.
Yeah.
So, and in the now, both of them can win the Super Bowl.
It's true.
Let's just keep that in the back of our heads before we talk to Chris Finch, coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, 9 to noon.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.
Man. I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow might very well be too late. I can't wait until tomorrow. 'Cause tomorrow could never come. Oh, good. I know it could end any minute.
9 to noon.
But I pray tomorrow come.
Time for 2 more.
But it could be too late.
Good stuff.
I'm ready to smile, but for a long while.
Alrighty, now, here we go. Let's close this Wednesday 9 to noon with one of our very, very favorites. The Timberwolves play at 8:30 tonight against Steph Curry and the Dubs. Joining us now is Timberwolves head coach Chris Finch, thanks to Prize Picks and Second Harvest Heartland at 2harvest.org. Chris, how was physical therapy this morning, and does it hurt?
It was good, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt as in like injury pain. It just hurts as in 55-year-old man pain trying to go through a workout.
So when does this clipping penalty of life come to a conclusion?
I don't know. I mean, they told me from the jump it'd be about a year-long recovery, and we're 8 months into it. So I think hopefully another 4 or 5 months, and we should be done for now.
The Golden State Warriors, Rick Barry. How about Rick Barry and those underhand free throws? And by the way, props to Rick Barry's father and his wife for that stable of Barrys they had that all got to the NBA. I mean, that's some serious genealogy there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible when you think about it.
The Warriors have lost 4 of the last 5 and are in last place in the Pacific Division. Transition time for the Warriors right now, or is there more to it?
No, I think it's just it's growing pains of a roster with different guys, young players, experienced players, free agent signings. It's just it's not unlike everything else we see in the league right now. Once these teams have some level of success with the new CBA agreement, it's highly punitive to keep teams together, and they've actually been paying the luxury tax at a very, very, very high level.
Yeah.
But there comes a time when the players maybe age out a little bit, or their contract becomes so burdensome that it keeps you from being able to start reshaping as you go. And I think that's the thing. I think you used to be able to just try to keep a run together with a roster as long as you possibly could, and then you take that as a complete tear down and a rebuild, and who knows however many longer years it takes. But now it just feels like it's so punitive to let these teams play out to their full destiny, if you will.
Is Steph Curry?
I mean, we're a little bit of an example of that ourselves, right? Just trying to have an eye on the future as you work through your roster construction in the present, and you're trying to build around certain parts of your roster, whether it be an aging superstar like Steph or a young superstar like Anthony.
Yeah.
You still have to maintain some level of flexibility to be relevant and competitive, and then take your swings when they come to try to get to that next level.
Well, I'm not asking you to speak for the bosses or the GM, but wasn't that part of the Cat deal? I mean, Cat's having a whale of a season, and Julius is things are coming together in transition there, and I like Randall on the team, but the future financial part of that whole thing, that was part of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't just exclusively a money deal. There were, many things involved in it, but at the heart of it was certainly, let's say, a medium to longer term perspective to how do you continue to maintain flexibility. That's what really is the key. Maintain flexibility in your roster to be able to keep shaping it around a guy like Anthony. And, at some point you have to kind of pivot and make these decisions. And every team is going to go through it at some point. And again, it might be around an aging core who's won a number of championships, or it might be around a young core who's kind of coming up together.
Let's pivot to Ant quickly, because it's I read earlier. Hopefully this is accurate, or actually hopefully it's not, because it's a lot of money. $285,000 in fines for Edwards this year for things he said about officiating, etc. Dang, I mean, he does realize the more animated and or loquacious he becomes with this, the fewer calls he'll get. I mean, it feels like the Karl Anthony Towns conversation you and I had, I think your second year here, and I know you worked hard on getting Cat out of that mode, and it worked, and he started getting more calls.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he does. I think he does realize that. I think, his comments after, the game the other night, he took ownership for his latest fines and has been very conversational with the league. And, I think at times he feels, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, with his relationship with the league, as, everybody wants and needs and hopes that this guy is going to be the face of the league. It's not something that he's ever particularly asked for, but he also knows that it comes along with everything. And it's for a young player trying to balance a lot of different things. It's part of the growing process. And the great thing about him is he's pretty self-aware when you have these conversations, and he realizes, and he has the ability to pivot and change. And he's racked up technicals at a higher rate in the last few years, but then at some point in the season, he's just, curtailed it and never really been in danger of, missing games due to suspension because of the technical account. The amount of technicals have gotten too high. So.
Chris, you guys have won 4 of the last 5. And how about Edwards at the nation's capital? 8 for 8 from the line. And I bring it up weekly with you as long as he keeps going to the line, because that's what the best of the best do. I mean, you just love that, don't you?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's his superpower. Getting to the paint, getting to the rim. He's very good at it. Really like how he simplified his approach right now with attacking quickly, decisively, going downhill. We've challenged him in this part of the season to get to the line more. His free throw rate had dropped 50% from the year prior. Some of that was due to 3-point volume, which we also love because he's making that at a high rate. But finding that right balance, it feels like he's kind of figured that part out, as well as the part of, when he sees double teams or he sees denials or sees other, defensive tactics that, he's been able to work through. And, sometimes it gets frustrated, but mostly he's been able to stay aggressive, create for his teammates and for himself.
Edwards in that Wizards game had 7 turnovers. It's obviously easy to look the other way that's a big number when you win a game. Yeah. Or do you just never look the other way on 7 turnovers? It's always a conversation.
Yeah, it's always a conversation. I mean, it's for us right now, turnovers are huge. We just have a lot of kind of really ugly ones, to be quite frank, and those are the ones we have to get out of our game. They come from a variety, carelessness, and it's not like it's not like screw you, I don't care turnover. It's just like, hey, we just got to be more careful, like make the safer play. Like you're not going to, we don't want to thread the needle into triple coverage at the 1 yard line. Like that's not what we're trying to do right here. But sometimes you guys get carried away and they feel like they're trying to make too many home run plays. And so those are the ones we certainly can address. I mean, part of our struggles, we have been with turnovers and rebounding. We lose the possession battle every single night. Again, that's no different than the NFL. I mean, if you lose the turnover battle every night, you're not going to win, as many games as you probably should.
Right. And then when you do get a turnover, that's a scoop and score and it gets into the end zone and it's reversed by a fool. Well, then you got to factor those things in there too. I'm sorry.
There's no accounting for fools.
Yeah. I don't mean to be hussy. I mean huffy with the conversation, but anyway, let me ask you this. What determines if you run plays with Julius initiating the offense?
A lot of things. I mean, we have we really like his playmaking and the pace that he can inject. A lot of it will do. It's what kind of pressure is being applied elsewhere. Are they pressuring up? He's a good pressure release. Up, really good playmaker from the top of the floor. Just also trying to get him activated early and often, particularly in that first 6 minutes of the game where we need him to go out and be aggressive.
Well, casting the gaze, even the way of the Knicks game. You got the Warriors tonight, but I'm going to ask you about the Knicks in a second, let alone casting your gaze the way of the playoffs, where you will be. But I'm going to do that just to get a little dreamy here for a second. So say you have Julius, free throw line extended, somewhere around there, initiating the offense, which he does, and he's quite good at it, even in congested areas. So do you envision, like, he's getting off, and they have to double him, and then that leaves the superstar open for some threes?
Yeah. That we've actually benefited from that. He has the ability to draw a crowd. Certainly, the closer he gets to the basket, posting up Julius has been one of the more efficient and repeatable offenses that we've been able to do. And a lot of times that's benefited in Anthony threes. Early in the season, there were really the 3-point volume that we were talking about with Anthony has been up, and a lot of that is also just because he's created those kick-out threes. I looked at a stat the other day. He's created 100, and at that point in time, I think we were 31 games into the season. He created 175 kick-out threes for his teammates, which was nearly double the amount that we had created in the same situations last year. So, that's huge, and we're now starting to make them, and that's we're making them at a much higher level. And early in the season, we weren't making them consistently on a night-to-night basis, and that was part of our offensive lag. But our offense is really starting to pick up. We're top 10 on offense in the last couple weeks, so we feel good about that. Feels like we have something we can kind of repeat in a nice rhythm.
You, Chris Finch, Prize Picks, Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org. Time for a couple more. 4 games in like 5.5 days. And that includes, we got tonight. Then we're at Madison Square Garden Friday night. What do you think of round 2 against the Knicks?
Yeah, it's going to be, a fun one for sure. It's always a great experience playing at the Garden. The return of Julius and Dante, I'm sure it'll be very emotional. And I think that's going to be part of it. All players get up for playing at the Garden. But being able to control our emotions in the right way, play within the framework and the style and the rhythm that we've been playing, and not getting drawn into personal battles, that's going to be huge.
Yeah.
And then just, to beat a really good team like that, you gotta put together a consistent performance. I think defensively, when we played them last time, obviously Cat got loose on us, and we need to make some adjustments to our game plan to be able to kind of counter some of that.
You know who beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden the other night? The turnaround team of the decade, your Detroit Pistons. Here they come.
That's right. Yeah, we root for a lot of Detroit victories right now as we hold their pick.
Yeah, man. The Pistons. It's like, see, I'd watched Cade Cunningham before, and sadly you guys lost, but I'd never seen him live. So like, I try to watch at least a quarter of him every single time he plays. Holy cow, has he gotten good? Last one here. Nice scheduling, NBA. We get the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Then Finch's team, the Wolves, host Cleveland on a back-to-back with travel. And the Cavs might be the best team in the NBA at this moment. That does sounds easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good. These are the exact challenges we need to kind of measure up to. So the schedule's been a meat grinder. There's no doubt about it. And then we turn around and the next day leave to go on the road again to Memphis. We've had a bunch of games where we kind of shuttle out east for a game, come back home, back out east. But it is what it is. Everybody has some sort of scheduling woes that they're complaining about. But we got a good run of games right here against some really good teams, and we got to continue to play our best basketball.
Last one, and you mentioned Memphis. You guys have that one that you lost over the weekend, tightly contested, wonderful game. There were mistakes made, but I really enjoyed watching that before taking off the next day to Arizona for the L. But you guys and the Grizzlies, man, you got a nice little rivalry going there. And with Zach Edey, Triple J, Jaren Jackson, and Brandon Clark, is Memphis's size a problem for teams? And how does one get around it?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a big front line, and they have an active front line. I mean, it's not just big; it's super active. Clark has got a ton of bounce. Jackson Jr. has all the skill you need, and he plays. He's pretty relentless. Always coming at you, always on the glass. And then Edey, is a really nice rookie. I mean, he's got really good size, good touch, knows what he does well, can repeat it every single night. Got a good blend. They all have enough skill where they really accentuate each other, but it's just their overall activity. They're high energy, multiple efforts. They hit first. You got to really be able to match their physicality, and that's kind of where they've been able to get us.
8:30 tap tonight. Get some rest. Thanks for the time. Appreciate you, man. Good luck to your Eagles this weekend, and we'll call you next week.
Hey, man, appreciate it. And just congrats on a great Vikings season. I know it didn't end the way people want, but I thought it was really fun to watch. Obviously got a stud in Kevin O'Connell. I've never met him, but a big admirer from afar. And, it was a heck of a season.
Awesome season, full of a lot of fun games. The ending, the last two were awful, but that's part of sports. I'm sure you didn't like some things in the Maverick series when it was over, and then you move on. But you guys are both of you are fantastic. Thank you for the chat.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
See you, bud. That's Finchy, and that's 9 to noon. It is Thursday tomorrow, so expect Ben Lieber, to join 9 to noon. Plus, we'll work on some other tricks for you. Oh, John Hines, coach of the Minnesota Wild at 9:30. Can't wait. I'm Paul Allen. Here comes Big Daddy Khan to put a wrap on the shop.
Time for two more.
Now, what did I do wrong?
Time to roll and put a wrap on the show. Man, we were feeling so different just 10 days ago, like a guillotine, quick chop at the blade. And twice this year, we get Campbell and McVade. It was back-to-back, and it's over like that. All the fond memories of Sam being peeled off of the mat. 9 sacks for Stafford's like half the season. Our squad setting playoff records for the wrong reasons. Still stings just from getting smacked. Now, like half the team, they're out of contract. The head coach wants a new one, and Flores, though, might be seeing B-Flow twice a year in Chicago. But who knows? Que sera, sera. Go to Target Center tonight. Hurrah, hurrah. The Wolves playing better, so hold on to those ticket stubs. The Wild getting healthier, leading to more dubs.
No love from the Golden State Warriors?
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
What are you looking for in a new smart TV? 4K picture quality? High quality and immersive sound? A sleek design? All of those are givens, but only the new Roku Pro Series has all of those and the Roku streaming experience, an award-winning OS. Get fast, easy access to all your apps like iHeart, where you can stream all your favorite music, radio, and podcasts all day, and regular all-inclusive trips to Roku City. The new Roku Pro Series, a smart TV built by the streaming pros.